There is a kind of silence that does not mean absence, but presence. It fills everything, surrounding the stars, gliding between planets, stretching endlessly where light itself has not yet arrived. Space is not empty. It is an ocean without surface or floor, made of invisible currents that move faster than sound, slower than thought. In that ocean, everything that ever was still is. The mind can try to imagine it, but imagination always falls short. Numbers do not help, distances lose meaning. A single beam of light can cross billions of years, yet remain part of the same breath that animates all things. The universe breathes in the language of motion. Every expansion, every collapse, every flicker of light in the dark is a syllable in that ancient exhalation. The air of Earth holds the memory of stars. Every atom that forms the human body was born in a furnace of unimaginable heat and pressure. When those stars died, their remains drifted through space until gravity gathered them again. From that scattered dust, planets formed, oceans filled, and eventually, consciousness awoke. The breath of the cosmos continues through lungs that once belonged to flame and dust. At the heart of this infinite stillness, there are regions where nothing seems to move, yet even there, energy hums below perception. Invisible particles flicker in and out of being, a quiet turbulence beneath the calm. This ceaseless shimmer means that even in the darkest corners of existence, something is always alive. Motion cannot stop. The universe is restless, even in its deepest sleep. If one could stand in the middle of a starless void and listen, the sound would not be heard but felt. A vibration in the bones, a soft resonance that carries the weight of all creation. It would not speak in words but in the language of balance, the pull of gravity, the dance of light, the patience of time. It would tell that everything moves together, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, as if guided by a single, invisible rhythm. Light travels endlessly, carrying messages that no one may ever read. When it strikes the eyes of an observer, it becomes history revealed. A photon that began its journey before the birth of humanity enters a moment of recognition. For an instant, time folds, and the observer becomes part of the story that began before memory. To see the night sky is to witness the past shining quietly in the present. The cosmic breath moves through everything, shaping it gently. Stars rise, burn and fade. Planets form, shift and vanish. Dust gathers and disperses. Each motion leaves behind a trace that never truly disappears. Energy only changes form, never ceasing. It is as if the universe exhales creation and inhales memory in a cycle that has no beginning and no final rest. There are no walls in this expanse, no boundaries that mark where existence ends. Instead, space curves back upon itself, folding and stretching under the weight of unseen forces. Galaxies glide through these invisible pathways, guided by the architecture of gravity. The motion is slow beyond comprehension, but steady, like the quiet tide of a sleeping sea. In this motion lies both serenity and eternity. Humanity stands small within this vastness, yet not separate from it. The same particles that spin in the hearts of stars also shimmer within each pulse of blood. The body is a fragment of the greater whole, a momentary pattern formed by the same physics that sculpts nebulae and black holes. To exist is to be part of that grand design, a fleeting thought in the endless mind of space. If one lets go of all noise and listens with stillness, the illusion of separation fades. What remains is motion, vibration, the slow rhythm of everything breathing together. Each inhale mirrors the gathering of galaxies. Each exhale reflects their slow drift apart. The cosmos does not sleep, yet it feels like a dream, vast, unending, and quiet enough to lull the mind toward wonder. In this infinite breath, there is comfort, the knowledge that everything once was light and will be light again. Nothing truly ends. It only changes shape, moving between forms, between silence and sound, between being and remembering. To breathe is to join that cycle, to become part of the quiet harmony that holds the stars. The universe breathes, and through that breath, everything continues. In the earliest moment of existence, there was no color, no glow, no trace of light. Space was thick with heat and density, an invisible ocean of energy and raw potential. The universe was smaller than a single breath, yet within it, all that would ever exist already waited in silence. Then, in an instant beyond time, everything began to move outward. The first expansion shattered that stillness. The cosmos unfolded, not into space, but as space itself. For hundreds of thousands of years, this newborn universe was a blinding storm. Particles crashed into one another endlessly, their collisions forming and breaking matter faster than it could survive. In that chaos, light existed, but it could not escape. Photons were trapped, ricocheting off electrons like birds in a cage of pure heat. The cosmos was luminous but invisible, filled with brilliance that no eye could ever see. As expansion continued, the temperature fell. The violent collisions grew gentler, the fog of particles began to thin. Around 380,000 years after the beginning, something delicate and profound occurred. Electrons slowed enough to be captured by atomic nuclei. Hydrogen and helium formed their first quiet bonds. The universe exhaled. For the first time, light was free to travel, unimpeded by the density that had once imprisoned it. This was the birth of the first light, not a beam, not a flash, but an ocean of pure radiance spreading in every direction. It filled the cosmos evenly, leaving no corner untouched. Those photons began a journey they have never ended, moving through expanding space at the same speed they were born. Their faint energy still lingers everywhere, whispering through the dark as the background glow that wraps all existence. The first light carried with it a kind of memory. Embedded in its subtle fluctuations were the first seeds of structure, tiny ripples that would one day grow into galaxies, clusters, and stars. Each uneven shimmer of brightness was a future world waiting to form. Within that faint light, the blueprint of everything we know was already written in temperature and motion. To imagine that ancient moment is to picture a universe filled with a soft, red glow. It was not the black of space we see today, but a dim warmth stretching endlessly in all directions. The first light was gentle, almost tender, bathing the young cosmos in a light that would slowly fade as it expanded. Over billions of years, it stretched and cooled, slipping from red to infrared to microwave, until only a whisper remained. That whisper still passes through the Earth every second, unnoticed, older than any star in the sky. Each photon that drifts across the night today carries a trace of that first illumination. They are messengers from an age when there were no galaxies, no planets, not even dust. To them, the universe is still the same journey. They began, endless expansion, eternal motion, a flight without destination. The light does not fade, it simply spreads thinner, diluted across the vastness of growing space. This ancient radiance is not only a physical remnant but a symbol of the universe awakening to itself. It was the moment when chaos softened into coherence, when darkness learned to glow. From that gentle beginning, the universe began to sculpt itself into forms of increasing complexity. The first atoms became clouds, clouds became stars, stars began to fuse elements, and from their remnants, new worlds emerged. Yet everything began with that first release of light, the universe's first act of expression. If one could travel back to that instant, there would be no sound, no boundary, no horizon, only a pervasive brightness, endless and serene. The light would not sting the eyes, it would surround and penetrate, blending with everything, indistinguishable from the space it filled. It was a light that did not need to be seen, only felt. It was the first evidence that something existed rather than nothing. Even now, that light connects all that is. The faint glow that once filled the cosmos completely still lingers in every direction, like the afterimage of creation itself. It carries within it the fingerprints of the universe's beginning, the temperature of its infancy, the rhythm of its expansion, the first symmetry between matter and energy. It is the soft heartbeat of existence, still pulsing faintly beneath all things. To look at the stars is to witness echoes of that first illumination, refracted through eons of transformation. The light that surrounds humanity is not new. It is ancient light, recycled through time, reshaped by dust and gravity, reborn in stars and reflected in eyes. Every glimmer in the night sky is part of that original glow, dispersed and transformed, yet never lost. The first light ever born was not simply an event. It was the moment the universe began to remember itself, the instant when energy and matter entered into harmony. It was the quiet beginning of visibility, the dawn that would one day allow awareness to emerge. That faint light still lives in the emptiness, and within every observer, as a distant reflection of the universe's first awakening. There is a faint whisper that fills the entire universe, a soundless vibration woven into every corner of existence. It is the oldest message known, older than stars, older than galaxies, older than light as we know it. This whisper is not carried by air or sound, but by radiation itself, a ghostly afterglow that hums gently through the void. It is the faint echo of the event that began everything. Everywhere, in all directions, this glow can be found. It is a subtle warmth left behind from the moment when the universe first released its light. To human eyes, it is invisible. To instruments, it appears as a field of soft energy stretching evenly across the sky, like a cosmic memory that refuses to fade. It is the afterimage of the Big Bang, still pulsing faintly through time. The universe began as an explosion not into space, but of space. Everything that exists today was once compressed into a single, incomprehensible point of density and heat. When that point expanded, it carried within it all matter, energy, and time. The afterglow of that expansion has never disappeared. It has only cooled, stretching its wavelength as the universe grew larger. What remains today is a sea of microwaves, a quiet signal that arrives from every direction at once. For a long time, this echo went unnoticed. It existed quietly, surrounding Earth, filling every corner of the sky, yet no one could hear it. When it was finally detected, it was by accident. Two engineers working on a radio antenna found a mysterious noise they could not remove. They cleaned the instrument, chased away pigeons nesting in its curved surface, and adjusted every setting. But the signal remained. It was uniform, constant, unyielding. It came not from Earth, not from the sun, not from any star, but from everywhere at once. They had found the cosmic background itself. That signal was more than noise. It was proof that the universe had once been hot and luminous beyond imagination. The faint microwave hiss was the cooled remnant of that ancient fireball, the first light stretched thin across time. Every measurement of its frequency, every subtle variation in its intensity, carried information about the shape and age of everything that exists. It revealed that the cosmos was not eternal and unchanging, but dynamic, expanding, and filled with structure. To visualize this ancient glow is to imagine an invisible ocean of warmth surrounding every atom. It exists inside the deepest regions of space and within the quiet atmosphere of the Earth. Its temperature is barely above absolute zero, yet it holds the entire history of the cosmos within it. The delicate variations across this radiation are not random. They are the imprints of the earliest fluctuations in density, the first uneven ripples that gravity would later sculpt into galaxies and clusters of stars. These patterns in the background are like the fingerprints of creation. In their arrangement lies the blueprint of cosmic architecture, a faint record of how everything began to gather and separate. The tiniest differences in temperature, measured in fractions of a degree, mark where the universe was slightly denser, slightly more full of potential. Those tiny differences became the framework of everything seen today: the stars, the planets, the intricate web of galaxies that spans billions of light years. The radiation itself has a texture, a softness that hides deep order. When instruments map it, the result looks like a tapestry of speckles and waves, each color representing a slight difference in ancient temperature. This delicate design, drawn in invisible wavelengths, is a portrait of the universe as it once was a child of energy, glowing softly in its earliest dawn. As the universe expanded, this echo dimmed, its wavelength stretched by space itself. What was once blinding light has become a gentle hum, too cold to see, too vast to escape. Yet it remains everywhere, a reminder that the cosmos still carries its own memory. Every moment of existence is bathed in that ancient radiance, as if the beginning never truly ended but continues in the quiet background of time. To sense it, one does not need to travel among the stars. Even the static between radio stations carries traces of it. That faint hiss between channels is a fragment of the first fire, a murmur from the dawn of creation, reaching across more than 13 billion years. It is a voice without words, yet it speaks of everything that has ever been. The echo of the Big Bang is not just evidence of an origin, it is the universe's first self-portrait. It shows that the cosmos is not chaos but harmony, not void but structure. It is a story written in radiation, still unfolding, still traveling outward with every passing second. The light from that first moment continues its endless journey, and in its persistence lies the quiet proof that nothing truly disappears. The universe remembers. It remembers everything. In the vast reaches between stars, there appears to be nothing. The blackness looks absolute, an endless ocean of stillness. Yet this emptiness is not truly empty. Beneath the calm lies motion. Beneath the silence lies energy. Space itself, even when stripped of matter, hums with invisible activity. The vacuum is alive. At first glance, it seems impossible. A region without particles should have no sound, no temperature, no movement. But at the smallest scales, existence defies the rules of common sense. Within what appears to be void, space trembles with quantum fluctuations. These are brief flickers of creation, moments when pairs of particles spring into being and vanish almost instantly. They appear from nothing and return to nothing, yet in that brief heartbeat of existence, they alter the very fabric of reality. Physicists once imagined space as a simple stage where matter performs. Later, they realized the stage itself participates in the act. The vacuum is not a blank background but a restless sea of potential. Energy rises and falls within it, forming waves that ripple through everything. These fluctuations can never be entirely still, because uncertainty itself forbids perfect silence. Even at absolute zero, even in perfect darkness, space cannot stop moving. This invisible activity can be measured. Its effects are subtle but real. The attraction between two uncharged metal plates, placed very close together, known as the Casimir effect, is caused by the pressure of virtual particles pushing them together. It is a gentle touch from the vacuum itself, proof that the so-called emptiness possesses force. Even light, when it passes through this field, can be shifted slightly, its behavior altered by the trembling of unseen energy beneath it. In the language of quantum physics, these temporary appearances are called virtual particles, yet their influence shapes the structure of everything. They appear everywhere at once, filling the cosmos with a ceaseless buzz of birth and disappearance. This constant creation and annihilation happens on scales smaller than atoms, smaller than imagination. What looks still is a blur of events, unfolding billions of times each second in every cubic inch of space. If one could see beyond ordinary perception, the void would shimmer like liquid glass. Waves of energy would rise and fall, delicate and endless. Every flicker would represent the possibility of matter, the seed of existence itself. This restless sea is what allows the universe to change, to evolve, to expand. Without this background motion, even time might stop, for time and energy are bound in the same rhythm. Some theories suggest that entire universes may emerge from such fluctuations. If energy within the vacuum grows dense enough, space can inflate, birthing new regions of reality. In this way, the cosmos may be self-replicating, each void holding within it the potential for infinite beginnings. What appears as emptiness may be the most fertile field imaginable, a soil where universes germinate like unseen flowers in the dark. Even gravity responds to this hidden activity. Space curves not only around visible matter but also around the energy that fills the void. Though it cannot be touched or seen, this energy gives weight to nothingness itself. It stretches the universe, accelerates its expansion, and may one day determine its final fate. In the most literal sense, the emptiness between stars is the engine that drives them apart. This idea reshapes the meaning of reality. The line between something and nothing begins to blur. The vacuum is not absence, but presence in its most subtle form. It contains no objects, yet it holds the rules that govern all objects. It carries potential, pressure, and movement. It is the quiet framework upon which the universe hangs its existence. When the eyes look into deep space, they see darkness. But within that darkness lies the origin of all light. Each flicker of quantum motion is a whisper from the foundation of creation, the smallest heartbeat of the cosmos. Space breathes not with air, but with probability. The vacuum is a conversation between what exists and what might exist, an unending dialogue between presence and absence. To understand this is to realize that true emptiness may never exist. Even in the darkest regions beyond galaxies, where no particle has crossed for eons, the field remains alive. The void listens, vibrates, and responds. It is not the space between things, but the thing that connects all else. The universe is not built upon nothing. It is built upon the quiet motion of everything that hides within nothing. In the emptiness, there is energy. In the silence, there is movement. In what appears void, there is infinite possibility. The universe rests upon this restless ground, and from it all matter rises, all light is born, and all time begins its flow. The vacuum is not empty, it is the breath beneath reality itself. Across the universe, galaxies spin like luminous spirals of fire, held together by invisible threads. Their stars orbit common centers, their arms stretch gracefully outward, yet something unseen keeps them from flying apart. The light we see is not enough to explain their motion. There must be something more, a hidden substance shaping the cosmos from behind a curtain of invisibility. This unseen mass is called dark matter. It neither shines nor absorbs light. No telescope can capture its form, no spectrum can reveal its color. Yet its influence is everywhere, silently dictating the movement of galaxies, bending the path of light, sculpting the large-scale structure of the universe. It is the invisible architecture of everything. The first clues appeared when astronomers measured how fast stars moved within galaxies. According to known physics, the outer stars should drift more slowly, bound by the pull of the mass within. But their speed did not fall. They moved too quickly, as if pulled by a hidden force, an unseen halo surrounding every galaxy. This invisible halo contained far more mass than all visible stars combined. The same mystery appeared on even larger scales. Galaxies in clusters moved too fast to be held together by their visible contents. Something vast and unobserved had to be binding them. Light from distant galaxies also curved as it passed near these clusters, distorted as though it flowed through invisible glass. The warping revealed the presence of enormous amounts of matter that emitted no glow at all. The conclusion became inescapable. Most of the universe is made of something we cannot see. Ordinary matter, the atoms that make up stars, planets, and living beings, accounts for only a small fraction of existence. The rest lies hidden, silent, and cold, influencing everything, yet revealing nothing. What is this dark matter made of? No one knows. It does not behave like ordinary particles. It does not collide, burn, or decay in ways that release light. It passes through solid matter as if it were smoke. Billions of these particles may be streaming through every human body at this moment, leaving no trace. They form vast halos around galaxies, extending far beyond their visible edges, shaping the cosmic web that connects everything. Some scientists propose that dark matter consists of particles unlike anything known, weakly interacting massive particles, or WIMPs, that barely touch the rest of reality. Others imagine axions, particles so light and ghostly they ripple like waves through the vacuum. There are even theories suggesting that dark matter might not be matter at all, but a sign that gravity behaves differently on cosmic scales. Each idea opens a new path, yet none provide certainty. Despite its invisibility, dark matter makes itself known through gravity. Its presence bends the motion of stars and galaxies, shaping the very geometry of space. Without it, galaxies would unravel, stars would scatter, and the universe as we know it would dissolve into chaos. The hidden mass holds the cosmic tapestry together, maintaining the delicate balance that allows structure to exist. Dark matter acts as both guardian and mystery. It provides the scaffolding upon which galaxies are built, yet it hides all evidence of its nature. It is as though the universe wears a cloak, showing only its glittering surface while concealing the deep structure beneath. Every glowing star is merely decoration upon that invisible frame. Even now, experiments buried deep beneath mountains and ice wait to capture a single interaction with this elusive matter. Sensitive detectors lie in silence, surrounded by rock to shield them from cosmic interference. Scientists watch for the faintest flicker, a single spark that would confirm the presence of what holds the cosmos together. But the darkness remains quiet. It resists detection, keeping its secrets behind a veil of stillness. Some theories suggest that dark matter may not be separate at all, but another reflection of the universe's unseen energy, the shadow of deeper laws not yet known. Perhaps space itself contains layers of existence, and dark matter is simply the echo of another reality overlapping ours. Others propose it could be ancient, formed before the birth of atoms, carrying memories from a time when the universe was raw and unshaped. The truth remains hidden, yet its influence cannot be denied. The stars move according to its will, galaxies grow in its embrace. Even light itself bends to its unseen command. It rules quietly, without presence or sound, shaping everything from the largest structures in the cosmos to the smallest movements of gravity. To look at the night sky is to see only a fraction of what exists. The luminous parts are brief sparks in a vast sea of shadow. The real universe, the one that holds the stars in place, is dark. It surrounds, supports, and contains everything that glows. The light we see is the exception. The darkness is the rule. The night sky looks eternal, but it is not still. Every point of light drifts slowly away from every other. The universe is stretching not into emptiness, but as emptiness itself. Space expands, carrying galaxies with it, as if reality were breathing outward. The stars do not move through space. Space itself moves between them. This revelation was one of the most astonishing discoveries in human history. For centuries, people imagined the heavens as fixed, unchanging, a grand dome of eternal constellations. Then came the moment when careful observation revealed that distant galaxies were not standing still. Their light was stretched, its wavelengths pulled toward the red end of the spectrum. The further away a galaxy lay, the greater this redshift appeared. It meant one simple, unimaginable thing: the universe was expanding. The concept was born from mathematics before observation confirmed it. When the equations of relativity were applied to the cosmos, they refused to remain static. They demanded motion, either contraction or expansion. Reality itself could not stand frozen, it had to evolve. When astronomers measured the skies and found that distant galaxies were receding, the prediction became truth. The cosmos was not a quiet stage, but a living, changing entity. What expands is not matter, but space itself. The galaxies are not rushing through a pre-existing void, the void is growing between them. The distances increase not because of movement through space, but because space stretches, carrying everything within it. Imagine dots painted on the surface of an inflating balloon. As the balloon expands, the dots drift apart, not because they move, but because the surface beneath them grows. So too does the universe. This expansion began with unimaginable force, an event of pure motion that has never ceased. Even now, billions of years later, the stretching continues, silent and unstoppable. Every second, the fabric of the cosmos extends farther, creating more space for more light to travel, more time for more change to unfold. What drives this expansion is something even stranger than dark matter. There is a force working against gravity itself, a mysterious pressure that pushes everything apart. It has no sound, no texture, no measurable form. It is called dark energy, and it fills all of space. Unlike matter, which weakens as it spreads out, dark energy remains constant. The more space it creates, the more of it there is. This makes the expansion accelerate, a runaway process that grows faster with time. The consequences of this discovery are immense. The universe will not remain as it is. The stars that now seem eternal will drift too far to be seen. Galaxies that shine brightly today will vanish beyond the reach of light. The night sky, in the distant future, will fade until only the faint glow of the nearest stars remains. Space will stretch faster than light can cross it, isolating each island of matter in a sea of emptiness. Even now, that process has begun. The space between galaxies grows wider every moment. Light traveling from distant worlds arrives redder and weaker, its energy drained by the expanding fabric it crosses. What was once bright becomes faint. What was once near becomes unreachable. The cosmos, though vast, is growing lonelier with time. There is a strange beauty in this. The universe is not static because it is alive. Its constant expansion is not decay, but a form of evolution, the natural breath of existence. Every widening distance carries the memory of the first moment of creation, when energy burst forth into being. That first outward surge has never ended. The universe continues that motion eternally, each instant a continuation of the beginning. If one could watch the cosmos from outside, it would appear as a great, invisible tide flowing outward in all directions. Galaxies, like luminous islands, ride upon that tide, bound within it yet helpless to resist. The expansion is not violent. It is serene, patient, inevitable. No explosion, no boundary, just a steady unfolding of reality into itself. The human mind struggles with such scale. Expansion means distance, and distance means time. The light from a galaxy billions of years away shows how it once looked, not how it is now. What we see of the universe is always history, a record of what has already expanded. The stars above may already be farther than their light suggests, their positions long changed, their shapes transformed by the invisible motion of the cosmos. And yet, within this growing space, matter gathers, stars are born, and life emerges. The expansion creates room for everything to exist. It is not emptiness spreading, it is potential unfolding. Each moment of cosmic growth allows new patterns, new structures, and new dreams to form. The universe expands, and through that expansion, creation continues. To gaze into the night sky is to see this motion frozen in time. Every photon of light that reaches the eyes is stretched by the growth of space it crossed. The faint redness of distant galaxies is a signature of the universe's own breath. It is the imprint of expansion itself, written in the language of light. The cosmos stretches not into something else, but into itself. Space gives birth to more space, endlessly, silently. The expansion is not an explosion to be witnessed, but a rhythm to be felt, the heartbeat of existence, still echoing from the moment it began. Nothingness expands, and in doing so, creates everything. The universe is vast beyond measure. There are hundreds of billions of galaxies, each containing hundreds of billions of stars. Around many of those stars, planets circle quietly, worlds that may glow with oceans, winds, and storms. In all that immensity, there should be life. Somewhere among the stars, there should be voices, signals, civilizations reaching outward. Yet the cosmos remains silent. No transmission calls across the void, no reply ever comes. This is the paradox that unsettles the imagination. If the universe is filled with places where life could thrive, why does the night sky speak nothing back? It is called the Great Silence, a mystery not of absence, but of quiet. The ingredients for life are everywhere. The same atoms that formed Earth and its oceans are scattered through the dust of every galaxy. Carbon, nitrogen, water, and energy exist in abundance. Statistically, life should not be rare, but probability does not make sound. For generations, humanity has listened. Radio telescopes scan the heavens, turning across the sky in slow, precise arcs. They listen for signals that repeat, patterns too deliberate to be natural. None have arrived. The universe, so filled with light, offers no message. The silence deepens, and with it grows a strange kind of awareness that existence may be more isolated than once believed. Some believe the silence hides life rather than denies it. Perhaps civilizations speak in ways we cannot yet hear, using technologies that merge with the fabric of physics itself. Perhaps their signals fade before reaching us, lost in the stretching of space. A radio wave from a distant world may expand with the universe until it dissolves into background noise. Distance is not just far away, it is time itself, and time erases even the strongest voice. There is also the possibility that life flourishes but remains quiet by choice. A civilization may learn that to speak is to be seen, and to be seen is to invite danger. The cosmos may be like a dark forest where every species hides, aware that other hunters may listen. In such a universe, survival demands silence. The quiet would then not be emptiness, but caution the hush of countless worlds watching, listening, waiting. Others imagine a more haunting explanation. Perhaps intelligence is fragile. a spark that rarely survives its own awakening. Civilizations may rise and vanish before their voices can cross the stars. Their monuments crumble, their light fades, and the signal of their existence never escapes the cage of time. The cosmos may be full of tombs, silent worlds orbiting dead suns, their histories lost to the endless dark. Still, hope persists. The same silence that isolates also invites wonder. It reminds that life, as fragile as it may be, has already achieved the impossible. It has learned to look outward. On a small blue planet, consciousness has lifted its gaze and built machines to listen to the universe. Even if no answer comes, the act of listening connects humanity to the infinite. The silence becomes a mirror, reflecting curiosity itself. The search continues in many forms. Scientists now listen not only for radio signals but for chemical traces in the atmospheres of distant planets, for artificial light that might glow around alien worlds, for structures large enough to block a star's brightness. Every observation carries the same quiet question: are we alone? The answer, if it ever comes, will not only change our understanding of the cosmos, but of ourselves. Yet there is a beauty in the quiet. The absence of sound allows imagination to fill the void. The silence of the universe becomes a space where thought can wander freely. Each star becomes a possibility, each world a question without answer. The stillness holds both comfort and longing, comfort in the order of the cosmos, longing in the mystery of its emptiness. If there are other minds, they may be looking back, seeing the same stars, wondering the same things. Across uncountable distances, curiosity may mirror itself. The silence that separates might also unite, for it is shared. Both sides wait for a sign, both caught in the same vast quiet. The stars keep their distance, but wonder bridges it. The great silence is not a void to be feared. It is a reminder of scale, of patience, of humility. It teaches that existence itself may be the rarest form of communication. The very act of being alive and aware, of thinking and asking, is the universe speaking through consciousness. The silence is not rejection. It is the pause between breaths in a cosmic conversation that may yet begin. And so, beneath the endless night, the listening continues. The instruments wait, the stars burn, the sky remains calm, patient, and wordless. Whether the silence hides life or reveals solitude, it holds the same quiet truth that to listen is to belong to the universe. The great silence is not empty. It is the sound of everything waiting to be understood. Every point of light in the night sky is a story in motion. Each star, though it may appear eternal, is a living entity, born, aging, and destined to fade. Stars are not fixed jewels scattered across space. They are the engines of creation, the beating hearts of the universe. They are born from dust and gas. They live through the dance of fusion, and they die in acts of transformation that shape the very fabric of matter. The story of a star begins in darkness. Within vast clouds of gas and dust, gravity begins to whisper. The atoms, scattered and cold, start to drift together under its pull. Slowly, invisibly, a knot forms. As it gathers mass, the pressure at its center grows, squeezing atoms closer and closer until they no longer behave as separate things. The temperature rises to millions of degrees. Then, in one magnificent moment, fusion ignites. Hydrogen atoms merge to form helium, releasing light and heat that push against gravity's relentless grip. A star is born. That first burst of light is a kind of awakening. It marks the moment when gravity and energy find balance, when collapse meets resistance, when darkness learns to shine. From then on, the star exists in delicate equilibrium. Every second, countless atoms fuse in its core, creating the energy that radiates across space. The light that leaves its surface may travel for billions of years before touching another world. That journey, silent and unbroken, makes each photon a messenger of time. The lifespan of a star depends on its mass. The small ones, like quiet embers, burn slowly, living for trillions of years, longer than the universe has yet existed. The large ones, massive and proud, blaze through their fuel with furious speed, shining so intensely that their lives last only a few million years. In both, the The same process unfolds a ceaseless alchemy of elements, forging new matter from the simplest building blocks. In their hearts, stars create the ingredients of everything that will ever exist. The hydrogen that filled the early universe becomes helium, then carbon, oxygen, iron, and beyond. Each element in every planet, in every body, was once made in the core of a star. They are the universe's great forges, transforming simplicity into complexity. When a star breathes, the cosmos evolves, but balance cannot last forever. When a star's hydrogen fuel runs low, its core begins to change. Gravity tightens its hold again, crushing the core until it heats enough to ignite new kinds of fusion. The outer layers expand, swelling into immense luminous shells. The star becomes a red giant, glowing with deep crimson fire, its atmosphere stretching far into space. For a time, it lives in grandeur, burning brighter even as it approaches its end. The death of a star is not an ending but a transformation. The smaller ones release their outer layers gently, forming beautiful clouds of glowing gas called nebulae. At their centers, the cores cool into white dwarfs, dense, small, and silent remnants that will fade slowly over billions of years. The larger stars meet a far more violent fate. When their cores can no longer resist gravity, they collapse in an instant, creating a supernova. A supernova is an explosion so powerful it can outshine an entire galaxy. For a brief moment, one dying star becomes brighter than billions of others combined. In that flash, heavy elements scatter into space: gold, silver, uranium, the materials that will one day form planets and life. The death of a star becomes the birth of everything else. From destruction, creation continues. Sometimes, the core that remains is crushed beyond all imagination. It becomes a neutron star, a city-sized sphere so dense that a spoonful of its matter would outweigh mountains. Or, if the star was massive enough, it collapses entirely into a black hole, a point where gravity becomes infinite and time stands still. These remnants are not truly dead. They continue to influence the universe, shaping space and swallowing light. The story of a star never truly ends. The light that shines above Earth each night is ancient. Some of those stars have already died, their final light still crossing the endless gulf of space, arriving long after their last fusion faded. To look at them is to peer into the past, to see history written in photons. The sky is a living archive of stellar memory. Stars do not exist in isolation. They form in clusters, orbit one another, and shape their surroundings. Their radiation carves patterns in nearby clouds, triggering the birth of new stars. In this way, they pass their energy forward, generation to generation, like a cosmic inheritance. The galaxy breathes through them, expanding its light through their endless cycles of life and death. To understand the secret lives of stars is to understand the rhythm of existence itself. Every beginning is born from collapse. Every ending seeds creation. The same light that warms the Earth today began as the breath of dying stars that existed before the sun was born. Each heartbeat, each spark of thought, each atom of breath is a continuation of that process. The stars above do not simply shine. They are alive in their own language of physics and fire. Their glow is not merely illumination but memory, energy made visible, motion given voice. They are the witnesses of time, the quiet storytellers of the universe, burning patiently in the dark. And though their lives span millions or billions of years, they remind that every moment, no matter how brief, can give rise to eternity. There comes a moment in the life of every massive star when its strength begins to fail. The fuel that once burned so brightly in its heart runs low. Fusion, the process that held gravity in balance, slows. The energy pushing outward weakens, but gravity does not forgive weakness. Slowly, then suddenly, the core of the star begins to fall inward. Its collapse is silent, swift, and unstoppable. At first, the outer layers try to resist. They expand one last time, glowing with furious brilliance, but the inward pull is absolute. In a fraction of a second, the core implodes, compressing billions of tons of matter into a space no larger than a city. The collapse releases more energy than the star produced in its entire life. For a brief instant, the dying giant outshines its entire galaxy. The explosion that follows is one of the most violent events in the cosmos. A supernova, a cosmic rebirth written in fire. But sometimes, even that explosion is not enough. The collapsing core does not stop. The matter within it compresses beyond the point where atoms can exist. Protons and electrons merge into neutrons, forming a neutron star so dense that a teaspoon of its substance outweighs mountains. Its surface glows with residual heat, and its rotation is so rapid that beams of energy shoot from its poles, sweeping across the cosmos like the ticking of a cosmic clock. Yet for some stars, even this is not the final fate. When gravity crushes a core beyond the neutron stage, there is no known force that can resist it. The matter continues to fall inward until all concept of structure disappears. Space and time fold into a singularity, a region where density becomes infinite and the known laws of physics can no longer describe what happens. Around this singularity, space curves so sharply that not even light can escape. A black hole is born. A black hole is not an object in the ordinary sense. It is a region of distorted space, a wound in the geometry of the universe. Its boundary, called the event horizon, is the point of no return. Anything that crosses it, matter, light, or even time itself, cannot emerge again. Beyond that boundary, all paths lead inward, all moments converge toward the center where existence collapses into mystery. Though invisible, black holes reveal themselves through their influence. They warp the orbits of nearby stars, draw matter into glowing disks of heat, and bend light so that it circles around them in halos. Their gravity is so intense that time slows near them, stretching seconds into eternities. For an outside observer, anything falling toward a black hole appears to freeze at the edge, its image fading, never quite crossing the threshold. But for the falling object, the journey continues inward, unseen and irreversible. The idea of such entities once seemed impossible, yet the mathematics of relativity predicted them long before observation confirmed their existence. The equations of gravity did not forbid infinite collapse, they demanded it. Space itself, under extreme compression, must curve to such a degree that escape becomes impossible. The universe, in its own logic, allows these dark hearts to form regions where creation folds back into silence. The space around a black hole is not empty. Matter that spirals inward forms an accretion disk, heated by friction until it glows brighter than most stars. In that final dance before disappearance, the matter emits immense energy, sometimes creating jets that shoot across galaxies at nearly the speed of light. These jets, born from the edge of nothingness, are among the most powerful forces in existence. From death, new light emerges. At the centers of galaxies, black holes grow colossal, billions of times more massive than the Sunday. These supermassive giants govern the motion of entire stellar systems, shaping the galaxies themselves. The Milky Way has one, silent and hidden, its presence known only through the stars that circle it in invisible obedience. Every orbit, every shimmer of light in the galaxy, carries the influence of that unseen core. The existence of black holes raises questions that pierce the edge of understanding. What happens to the matter that falls inside? Is it destroyed, or does it continue in some form beyond the horizon? Does the singularity contain another reality, another universe born from collapse? No one can see beyond that veil, for the light that could tell the story never escapes. The boundary between knowledge and mystery lies there, at the edge of a black hole where reality curves into the unknown. Though they represent destruction, black holes are also keepers of structure. They shape galaxies, regulate star formation, and recycle matter through their gravitational influence. Their silence sustains the balance of the cosmos. The collapse into darkness is not the end of meaning. It is the universe folding its energy back into itself, preparing for the next act of creation. To look upon the concept of a black hole is to confront the limits of comprehension. Within that invisible sphere, time, space, and matter cease to behave as they should. It is not death, but transformation, a reminder that the universe itself is built on cycles of collapse and rebirth. The stars that die in darkness give rise to the light that follows. Even in silence, the cosmos continues to breathe. In the heart of every black hole lies a contradiction that challenges the foundation of understanding. According to the rules of physics, nothing that crosses the event horizon can return. Yet, according to the rules of quantum mechanics, information, the essence of what something is, can never be destroyed. Both cannot be true, and yet both seem to be. This tension is known as the information paradox, a mystery that sits at the crossroads of reality itself. To understand the paradox, one must first imagine what happens as something falls toward a black hole. A star, a planet, even a single atom as it nears the event horizon, light from it stretches and fades, redshifted until it vanishes from sight. To an outside observer, it appears frozen in time, forever approaching but never crossing the boundary. For the object itself, the experience is different. It falls inward without pause, carried by gravity toward a center that defies comprehension. Once inside, it vanishes from the known universe. The information that described its structure, its motion, its particles, all seems to disappear. But disappearance is not destruction. In the language of physics, information cannot simply vanish. The arrangement of particles, their quantum states, their energy, all of it must persist somewhere, in some form. Yet inside a black hole, that information is trapped beyond any possibility of retrieval. It cannot escape, because even light cannot. The question then arises, where does it go? The paradox emerged when the idea of black hole evaporation entered the story. According to quantum theory, the vacuum around a black hole is not truly empty. Virtual particles constantly appear and annihilate near the event horizon. Occasionally, one of these particles escapes, stealing a bit of the black hole's mass in the process. Over immense timescales, this radiation causes the black hole to shrink, eventually evaporating completely. This radiation is called Hawking radiation, faint, cold, and relentless. If a black hole can evaporate, what happens to the information it contained? If it vanishes entirely, that would mean information is destroyed, violating one of the deepest laws of quantum mechanics. If it remains, where is it stored? The universe cannot simply forget. The paradox becomes a mirror, reflecting the limits of human comprehension. Some physicists propose that information might be preserved on the surface of the event horizon itself, encoded in patterns of quantum fluctuations. This idea, called the holographic principle, suggests that the three-dimensional universe we experience could be a projection from information imprinted on a two-dimensional surface. In this view, the black hole does not swallow information but translates it, storing it as a kind of cosmic memory etched upon its edge. Others believe the radiation itself carries faint imprints of the information outward. If true, it would mean that the process of evaporation slowly releases knowledge back into the universe, particle by particle, in ways almost impossible to detect. The black hole would not destroy, but rewrite dissolving matter and light into a new form of message, dispersed across eternity. Still, the mystery remains unsolved. The equations of relativity and quantum mechanics describe reality in different languages. One speaks of smooth space and continuous motion, the other of discrete energy and probability. Where they meet inside the black hole, their words contradict each other. The paradox of information is not merely a technical puzzle, it is the point where two great visions of the universe collide. To imagine the information of a fallen star scattered as radiation across space is to think of existence itself as a story that never truly ends. The forms may vanish, but the record remains. Somewhere in the structure of the cosmos, the trace of every event, every particle, every breath is preserved. The universe may be a vast library, endlessly rewriting itself, but never losing a single line. This idea transforms the way one sees reality. If all information is eternal, then nothing is truly lost. Not the collapse of stars, not the fading of light, not even the passing of thought. The universe becomes a system that remembers, a network that stores every moment within its structure. Each black hole, then, is not a destroyer, but an archivist keeping secrets in silence, hidden until the laws of nature can reveal them again. Some thinkers wonder if black holes are not endpoints but bridges. The information they hold might not be trapped but transferred elsewhere, perhaps to another region of space, another universe, another layer of existence. In this view, every collapse may lead to creation elsewhere, every disappearance to emergence. The paradox becomes not destruction, but transformation. And yet, mystery endures. No observation can confirm what happens inside. The event horizon remains an uncrossable curtain, and the laws within remain unknown. The paradox of information stands as a reminder that knowledge itself has boundaries, that even the universe keeps secrets. It teaches that the act of questioning is as sacred as the answer. To gaze upon a black hole is to look into the reflection of one's own limits. It is a challenge whispered by gravity, asking whether reality can be complete if understanding ends at its edge. The paradox does not silence curiosity, it fuels it, for within every contradiction lies the invitation to see more deeply. The universe hides nothing out of cruelty, but to encourage the mind to reach further into the dark. At the smallest scales of existence, the universe behaves unlike anything familiar. Here, distance loses meaning, and certainty dissolves into probability. Particles appear not as tiny spheres, but as waves of potential, sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes both. In this invisible realm, reality flickers, not as a continuous line, but as countless possibilities unfolding all at once. It is a world where matter, time, and even causality blur into something both strange and astonishing. This is the domain of quantum mechanics, the language of the very small. It describes a universe made not of solid things, but of relationships, patterns of information woven through energy. In this world, particles do not exist in fixed positions until they are observed. Their behavior is described by waves of probability, mathematical clouds that represent all the ways something could be. Observation does not simply reveal reality, it helps create it. The act of measurement collapses possibility into fact. Among the most haunting mysteries in this realm is entanglement. When two particles become linked through interaction, their properties remain connected no matter how far apart they travel. If one particle spins in one direction, the other spins in the opposite, change one, and the other responds instantly, as though distance does not exist between them. They act not as two objects, but as one system spread across space. This connection seems to defy the limits of speed. Even light, the universe's fastest messenger, cannot explain such instantaneous coordination. Einstein once called it spooky action at a distance, uneasy with how it appeared to break the boundaries of causality. Yet repeated experiments confirm it. Entangled particles remain bound in ways that transcend separation. Their communication happens without a signal, without delay, as if they share a single existence across the cosmos. To grasp this idea is to challenge the very notion of space. The universe may not be a vast collection of objects scattered through emptiness, but a single interconnected whole. Distance becomes an illusion born of limited perception. Every point in space could be entangled with every other, woven into a deeper layer of unity that underlies the visible world. What appears separate may only seem so because consciousness divides what is, in truth, continuous. This hidden unity suggests that reality operates like a vast quantum network, its nodes linked by threads beyond time. Every particle, every star, every living being participates in this network. On the smallest scales, information flows without resistance. On the largest scales, it creates coherence, the harmony that allows the universe to hold its form. Entanglement, then, is not a curiosity. It may be the structure of existence itself. The phenomenon also hints at something profoundly intimate. If matter everywhere can remain connected across light years, then perhaps the cosmos is not a place of isolation, but of shared origin. The same laws that bind distant particles also bind galaxies, suns, and life. The fabric of space is not a void between things, it is the bond that joins them. Reality, in this sense, is a single, unbroken field of relation. From this idea emerges the possibility that consciousness and matter are not entirely separate. The act of observation changes what is observed. Awareness, in its simplest form, seems to play a role in how potential becomes reality. This does not mean the mind creates the universe, but rather that mind and universe participate in the same unfolding process, two aspects of the same field, perceiving and being perceived. In this vision, what we call the real may be a projection from a deeper, more fundamental layer. The visible world, full of form and motion, might be an expression of patterns existing in pure information. This concept echoes through theories of quantum gravity, where space-time itself could emerge from the entanglement of underlying states. In other words, space and time may not be the foundation of reality, but consequences of something even more profound. If this is true, then the universe is not a machine but a thought, not a collection of objects, but an expression of connection. Every point touches every other, not through distance, but through unity. Entanglement becomes the whisper of this truth, the hint that existence is both many and one. To imagine such a cosmos is to envision a space between realities, the unseen realm where possibility becomes presence. In this in-between place, particles communicate in silence, sharing knowledge without motion. It is a realm of pure coherence, where the distinction between here and there dissolves. Space, in its deepest nature, is not emptiness but relation, the invisible thread that binds all that ever was and all that ever will be. The universe does not seem to keep secrets. It simply speaks a language of subtlety. Entanglement is one of its gentlest syllables, a soft reminder that every piece of reality is part of a single story. When one looks at the night sky and feels both distance and closeness at once, it may be an echo of this truth that the stars, though far away, remain part of the same pattern, shining through the same fabric that connects every living mind. Time flows like a river in the human mind, steady and forward. Seconds become minutes, minutes become hours, and every heartbeat seems to drift into the past. Yet in the language of the universe, time is not a simple current. It bends, it stretches, it folds. It is woven together with space into a single fabric, curving around matter and energy, like silk drawn to gravity's pull. Every massive object, from a small planet to a giant star, presses into this fabric. The result is not a force pulling objects together, but a warping of geometry itself. What is felt as gravity is time flowing differently near mass. A clock closer to a planet ticks more slowly than one far from it. Time itself stretches under weight. The stronger the gravity, the slower the passage of moments. Near a black hole, the stretching becomes extreme. To fall too close is to watch eternity unfold in an instant. This realization transforms the understanding of reality. Time is not universal, it is personal. Two observers can experience the same event differently, depending on their speed or position in space. One might see years pass, while the other counts only seconds. The faster one moves, the more time slows, as though motion itself resists the unfolding of existence. This flexibility of time was proven in countless ways. Tiny particles called muons, moving near the speed of light, survive longer than they should. Astronauts who travel far from Earth's gravity age, slightly less than those who remain behind. These are not illusions or tricks of measurement. They are the signatures of relativity, written in the heartbeat of the cosmos. The union of space and time creates a structure called space-time, not a stage where events occur, but a participant in those events. Every motion, every mass, every photon of light shapes it. The universe does not live within time. Time lives within the universe. The great cosmic web, from galaxies to atoms, dances within its own self-curving rhythm. But even as time bends, its direction seems fixed. The arrow of time points toward the future, marked by the increase of entropy, the slow drift from order to chaos. A glass may shatter, but the shards never leap back into form. Stars burn their fuel, but the ashes do not reignite. The universe moves ever forward, from simplicity to complexity, from birth to decay. Why should time move in one direction? The laws of physics do not require it. At their core, they work equally well backward as forward. Yet, the universe chooses a direction, one that began at the moment of its creation. The reason may lie in the nature of entropy itself. The universe began in a state of extraordinary simplicity, a smooth, hot expanse of nearly uniform energy. From that improbable order, complexity was born. As the cosmos expanded and cooled, differences arose, and with them came the flow of time. The arrow began with imbalance. If the universe ever reaches perfect uniformity again, time as experienced may lose meaning. When no event distinguishes one moment from another, when no energy flows, the river of time could fall still. The end of time may not be an abrupt stop, but a fading away, as the cosmos cools toward equilibrium. Yet within the great curve of space-time, Time may also loop. Some solutions to relativity describe closed curves, paths where a traveler could return to an earlier moment, revisiting their own past. These curves are not fantasy, they are mathematical possibilities, though perhaps unreachable in practice. They remind that the line of time might be less a straight path than a spiral, a shape still waiting to be understood. Quantum theory adds another twist. On the smallest scales, time may not flow smoothly at all. It could flicker in discrete steps, moments emerging one after another like frames in an endless film. Each quantum of time, impossibly small, builds the illusion of continuity. If so, the future does not exist until it becomes the present, and the past remains a pattern of memory imprinted on the fabric of the universe. Even the concept of now is uncertain. What feels like the present is a region of perception, a narrow window where the mind gathers signals from the senses and declares them simultaneous. But across the cosmos, simultaneity dissolves. Two distant events may have no single order agreed upon by all observers. Time becomes local, defined by perspective. The universe contains many nows, each unfolding in its own rhythm. To contemplate this is to see existence anew. The flow of time that seems so familiar is part illusion, part truth, a construct of perception layered upon a cosmic fabric that bends and curves beyond understanding. The seconds ticking on a clock are not the same everywhere, and yet, together, they form the great continuum in which all stories unfold. The shape of time is not a straight line, but a landscape valleys near gravity, plains in deep space, rivers of motion winding between them. Every step, every orbit, every heartbeat follows the contours of that terrain. The past is not gone, it is simply elsewhere, folded into the geometry of space-time. The future is not written, it waits as potential within the same field. To live within this structure is to travel through a living dimension. Every breath moves along a curve that began at the birth of the cosmos and extends beyond imagination. Time is not merely something that passes, it is the texture of being itself elastic, relative, and infinite. When one looks at the night sky, the stars appear scattered, a random glitter across darkness. Yet behind that scattering lies an astonishing order, a grand design invisible to the naked eye. The universe is not a simple collection of galaxies drifting in emptiness. It is a structure vast, intricate, and interconnected. Its pattern stretches across billions of light years, forming a cosmic web that binds everything together. This architecture began with the faint irregularities imprinted on the universe's first light. Those tiny ripples in density, barely perceptible, became the seeds of structure. Over eons, gravity amplified them. Matter flowed toward the slightly denser regions, gathering into clusters and filaments, leaving behind great empty voids. The universe slowly shaped itself into a network, its threads woven from both visible and invisible matter. The filaments of this web are enormous. Each one is made of countless galaxies linked by streams of gas and dark matter. They stretch for hundreds of millions of light years, glowing faintly where galaxies ignite along their spines. Between them lie vast voids, empty regions so immense that entire clusters of galaxies could drift through without meeting another. The result is a pattern that resembles a living organism, with luminous arteries and dark cavities breathing across eternity. Dark matter plays the role of unseen scaffolding in this grand design. It provides the gravitational frame upon which galaxies form. Like invisible roots beneath a forest, it holds everything in place, anchoring the visible world to the unseen. Ordinary matter follows where dark matter leads, gathering in its gravitational wells, cooling into clouds, and eventually igniting as stars. Without that hidden skeleton, the universe would have remained a mist, unable to coalesce into shape. This cosmic web continues to evolve. Gravity draws its threads tighter, merging smaller structures into greater ones. Galaxies collide and merge, clusters form massive superclusters, and entire regions of the cosmos fold into one another. Yet, even as structure grows, the expansion of space stretches the web, thinning its filaments and deepening its voids. The universe is both gathering and dispersing, building and unraveling in the same breath. Astronomers have mapped parts of this immense network using light from distant galaxies. and the subtle distortions it creates as it passes through space. These observations reveal the hidden geometry of the cosmos, not uniform, but rhythmic, patterned like ripples frozen into glass. The largest known structures, such as the Sloan Great Wall and the Hercules Corona Borealis supercluster, span billions of light years. Each of these colossal formations contains millions of galaxies, yet they are only threads in a much larger fabric. To grasp the scale of this structure is to encounter humility. The Milky Way, with its hundreds of billions of stars, is a mere spark within one filament of this web. Our galaxy's nearest neighbors form a small cluster, which in turn belongs to a supercluster that itself drifts along one luminous thread among countless others. The pattern extends far beyond any horizon, possibly repeating in ways no observer will ever see. This architecture also carries echoes of the universe's beginning. The arrangement of filaments and voids still bears the imprint of the first moments after creation, the same fluctuations that once existed as slight temperature differences in the cosmic background, now stretched into cosmic geography. The universe has not forgotten its infancy. Its structure is its memory, frozen in the movement of galaxies and the distribution of light. The cosmic web reveals a paradox of beauty. What appears chaotic on small scales becomes harmonious on the largest. Individual galaxies collide and die, yet the network remains balanced. It shows that even in the vastness of space, order arises naturally, guided by the quiet laws of gravity and expansion. This order is not rigid but fluid, changing as the universe grows older, adapting to the shifting tides of dark energy and matter. The spaces between the filaments are as meaningful as the filaments themselves. The voids, though empty, shape the way galaxies form and move. They act like the silent intervals in music, defining the rhythm of creation. The contrast between presence and absence gives the universe its structure, just as silence gives sound its shape. To visualize this architecture is to imagine a network of light suspended in infinite darkness. The filaments pulse with galaxies, their intersections glowing where clusters reside. Between them stretch dark caverns where light rarely travels. The universe resembles a vast mind in motion, its thoughts spreading through filaments of gravity and time. Every galaxy, every star, every atom is part of this pattern, a single note in a cosmic symphony, too immense to hear all at once. And perhaps the most profound truth hidden in this invisible structure is that it connects everything. The same gravity that binds a planet to its star also binds galaxies to filaments, filaments to clusters, and clusters to the whole. There is no true isolation in the universe, only varying degrees of connection. Even the emptiest void is shaped by what surrounds it. To live within such an architecture is to inhabit a grand design beyond comprehension. The stars overhead are not random, they are the luminous beads of an immense web that defines the universe's shape. Through that web, gravity carries information, energy, and history. It is the framework upon which existence unfolds, unseen but omnipresent, silent yet fundamental. The universe, though it expands into silence, remains bound by this hidden lattice. The architecture of the cosmos is not only physical but poetic, a reminder that even in darkness, structure persists, and that the unseen may hold the greatest beauty of all. Far from the warmth of stars, beyond the glow of galaxies, there are regions where heat itself seems to fade into memory. These are the coldest places in existence, where motion slows to near stillness and energy dwindles toward nothing. In these vast, frozen expanses, atoms move so slowly that time itself seems to hesitate. The universe, in its infinite reach, contains not only blazing fire but also unimaginable cold. Cold is not merely the absence of heat, it is the absence of movement. Every particle in the universe vibrates with energy, and that vibration is what we call temperature. As energy drains away, the vibrations slow, and when they stop completely, a limit is reached: absolute zero. At that point, motion ceases, and entropy finds its stillest form. It is the quietest state nature allows, the resting place of all kinetic activity. Though absolute zero can never be perfectly achieved, the universe comes close in many hidden corners. Between galaxies lies the intergalactic medium, a nearly perfect vacuum, with temperatures only a few degrees above that limit. It is filled with the faint afterglow of the universe's first light, the cosmic microwave background. This ancient radiation keeps the vast spaces between worlds at a steady 2.7 kelvins above absolute zero. That whisper of warmth, relic of creation, is the only thing that prevents the cosmos from freezing entirely. Yet there are regions even colder. Within dense clouds of dust and gas, shielded from starlight, temperatures fall to just a few tenths of a degree above absolute zero. These molecular clouds are the cradles of new stars, paradoxically forming life-giving fire from near-frozen stillness. Inside them, atoms of hydrogen and oxygen drift lazily, colliding only occasionally to create water and complex molecules. The cold preserves these fragile combinations, allowing chemistry to proceed in slow, deliberate steps. In the faint outer reaches of planetary systems, beyond the last whispers of sunlight, cold takes on another meaning. Pluto, drifting at the edge of the solar system, experiences temperatures near 40 kelvins, cold enough for nitrogen and methane to solidify into ice. Farther still lies the Oort cloud, a sphere of ancient comets surrounding the solar system, where temperatures plunge below 10 kelvins. Each frozen fragment waits in silence, preserving material unchanged since the dawn of time. But even these places are warm compared to the universe's deepest shadows. When a massive star dies and collapses into a neutron star or black hole, it radiates away almost all its heat. The remnants that remain are unimaginably cold, their surfaces barely above absolute zero after billions of years. Around them, light itself can freeze into permanence, trapped by gravity, unable to escape. The coldest known natural place discovered by science lies in a nebula within the constellation Taurus, known as the Boomerang Nebula. It is a cloud of gas ejected by a dying star, expanding so rapidly that it cools to just 1 Kelvin above absolute zero. This temperature is lower than the background radiation that fills space. The nebula acts like a cosmic refrigerator, its own expansion stealing away heat faster than the universe can replace it. Within that mist, molecules drift through near-perfect stillness, moving slower than anywhere else known. On Earth, scientists have learned to create conditions even colder than those found in space. Using magnetic fields and laser light, they can cool atoms to billionths of a degree above absolute zero, forming strange states of matter such as Bose-Einstein condensates. In these experiments, atoms merge into a single quantum wave, behaving not as individuals, but as one unified entity. It is as though matter itself begins to dream, existing in harmony beyond the limits of motion. Cold changes the behavior of everything it touches. Metals lose resistance and become superconductors, allowing electricity to flow without loss. Gases turn to liquids, liquids to solids, and solids to new crystalline forms. Even light behaves differently, slowed and refracted in ways impossible at higher temperatures. In the universe's frozen depths, laws of physics reveal subtleties invisible in warmer realms. Yet cold is not lifeless. Paradoxically, it preserves life and possibility. The comets that wander through frozen space carry water and organic compounds, delivering them to young planets where warmth awakens them again. The cold acts as the universe's archive, storing its ingredients until they are needed. In the silence of low temperature, the seeds of creation wait patiently. The ultimate destiny of the cosmos may be to return to such stillness. If expansion continues forever, stars will burn out, galaxies will fade, and heat will dissipate. The universe will cool gradually until no difference in temperature remains anywhere. This imagined future, sometimes called the heat death, is not a fiery end but a long, slow descent into perfect equilibrium, the reign of absolute cold. Yet even in that hypothetical eternity, cold would not signify emptiness. It would represent completion, the final balance of all motion. The universe began in heat and expansion, and its opposite end may be an ocean of quiet stillness. Every photon, every atom, every thought would find rest. Cold is not the enemy of creation, it is its counterpoint. Just as silence makes music possible, cold makes heat meaningful. The coldest places in the universe remind us that stillness is as essential as motion, that quiet is as vital as sound. In the deep freeze of the cosmos, There is beauty beyond warmth, the beauty of endurance, patience, and perfect calm. Scattered through the galaxy are worlds that defy every expectation. Their orbits twist logic, their compositions mock prediction, and their existence challenges the very laws that were built to describe them. These are the planets that should not exist, yet they do: vast, silent, improbable, and beautiful. When the first exoplanets were discovered, astronomers expected to find worlds like those of our own solar system, rocky planets near their stars, gas giants far away, and orderly orbits shaped by gravity's patient rhythm. Instead, they found chaos. Some planets circle their stars in days, hugging so close that their skies burn with perpetual fire. Others wander through space unanchored, having been cast out from their systems. The universe, it seems, has a far richer imagination than theory ever did. One of the earliest surprises was the discovery of hot Jupiters. These giant planets, similar in mass to Jupiter, orbit so close to their stars that their atmospheres boil. Their day sides glow like embers, with temperatures that melt metal, while their night sides lie in darkness, whipped by winds faster than sound. According to early models, such planets should not exist. They are too massive to form so near a star. Yet there they are, circling suns at impossible proximity, proving that nature builds in ways no one foresaw. Then came the discovery of super-Earths, planets larger than Earth but smaller than Neptune. They are common throughout the galaxy, yet absent from our own solar system. Some have thick atmospheres of hydrogen and methane. Others are solid, rocky worlds with gravity strong enough to hold oceans hundreds of kilometers deep. One orbits a red dwarf star so closely that a year lasts less than a day. Another circles in darkness, its surface possibly covered with diamond formed under crushing pressure. Each of these worlds rewrites what is possible. There are planets that orbit two suns, rising and setting in twin light. There are worlds locked tidally to their stars, showing one face forever scorched, while the other lies frozen in endless night. Some orbit dying stars, surviving the violent transformations that should have destroyed them. Others drift through the galaxy alone, rogue planets, cast adrift by the gravitational chaos of their birth. Without a sun to warm them, they travel in eternal night, heated only by the faint decay of elements deep within. Among the strangest are the lava worlds, planets so close to their stars that their surfaces are seas of molten rock. Rivers of liquid metal flow across their crusts, and clouds of vaporized stone rain down in shimmering sheets. There are planets with atmospheres of glass, where winds hurl shards sideways in burning gusts. There are ice giants that rain diamonds as carbon crystallizes under immense pressure, their skies flashing with storms of frozen lightning. Some planets seem to orbit where physics forbids. A few circle dead stars, pulsars, neutron stars left behind by supernovae, completing orbits in mere hours. These planets endure radiation so intense that their very atoms strain to hold together. Their existence suggests a strange resilience. Even in the wake of destruction, the universe finds ways to rebuild. Other worlds exist in pairs or trios, locked in complex gravitational dances. Their paths intertwine like celestial choreography, stable yet intricate, each motion influencing the others in endless balance. Such systems hint that the cosmos values rhythm over simplicity, harmony over uniformity. Astronomers have even discovered planets that may be older than most of the stars we see today. One world, orbiting a pulsar and a white dwarf, may have formed from the remnants of ancient explosions. It circles its star every 2 months, composed of material billions of years older than the Sunday. Its continued existence is a message from the earliest epochs of the universe, proof that creation leaves survivors even in its most violent act. The diversity of these planets reveals that formation itself is not a single process, but a spectrum of chaos and chance. Worlds may form close to their stars and migrate outward, or far away and drift inward. They may collide and merge, shatter and reform, or be flung away entirely. The cosmos builds its worlds not by plan, but by persistence, trial, error, and evolution written on a planetary scale. Each discovery stretches imagination further. A planet made mostly of water, orbiting a star smaller than Jupiter, a world glowing faintly from its own heat, still cooling after its birth. a gas giant that floats so low in density it could rest on water. Every one of them whispers the same truth. The universe delights in the unexpected. For all the strange worlds already known, countless more remain hidden. Each star in the sky likely hosts its own system of planets, billions upon billions of them. Somewhere among them may be worlds even stranger than those discovered, perhaps with skies of ammonia and seas of methane, or with landscapes sculpted by alien biology. The planets that shouldn't exist remind that the cosmos is not bound by human prediction. Its creativity surpasses theory. Its order hides within apparent chaos. Each improbable world is an act of cosmic poetry, a verse written in rock, ice, and fire. And each one, in its defiance of expectation, expands what it means to be possible. Around the giant planets of the solar system circle worlds that, in their silence, may hold the most profound revelations of all. They are moons, companions to larger bodies, reflections of their light, yet many are worlds in their own right. Beneath their icy crusts, within their dense atmospheres, or across their fractured plains, these moons may hide oceans, storms, and even the faint stirrings of life. They whisper to the void in languages of water, ice, and fire. Among them, Europa glides through the shadow of Jupiter like a pale gem wrapped in frost. Its surface is a mosaic of cracked ice, streaked with lines of rust-colored minerals. Beneath that frozen shell lies an ocean larger than all the seas of Earth combined, kept liquid by the tidal heat from Jupiter's immense gravity. The crust flexes and groans as it orbits, releasing energy into the depths below. In that dark ocean, unseen currents may flow around hydrothermal vents, where warmth and chemistry mingle in silence. If life exists beyond Earth, Europa's hidden waters are among the most promising places to find it. Nearby, Ganymede reigns as the largest moon in the solar system, even greater in size than the planet Mercury. It possesses a magnetic field, a rarity among moons, hinting at a molten core and internal dynamism. Its icy surface hides layered oceans and frozen mountains, and its faint auroras shimmer in the magnetic glow of Jupiter's storms. Ganymede seems both ancient and alive, a world whose quiet presence belies deep complexity. Then there is Enceladus, a moon of Saturn so small it should have long since gone cold. Instead, it burns within. Through cracks near its south pole, geysers erupt in fountains of vapor and ice, shooting plumes hundreds of kilometers into space. These plumes contain water, organic molecules, and traces of heat, the ingredients of life itself. Beneath the crust lies an ocean warmed by tidal friction, circulating through a rocky seafloor rich in minerals. Each eruption sprays a message into space, a whisper from an ocean that has never seen the sunday. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, is another world that defies simple description. It is the only moon known with a dense atmosphere, thicker than Earth's, rich in nitrogen and methane. Its surface is shrouded in perpetual haze, and beneath that orange sky lie rivers, lakes, and seas not of water, but of liquid hydrocarbons. Methane rains fall gently on dunes of frozen sand. It is a mirror of Earth, seen through another element's dream, a world where chemistry has taken a different path, sculpting landscapes that echo our own. In Titan's deep, cold seas, complex molecules may be assembling their first tentative patterns. Elsewhere, beyond Neptune, Triton circles its planet in retrograde motion, moving opposite its host's rotation, a clue that it was once a wanderer captured from the Kuiper belt. Its surface is smooth and young, reshaped by cryovolcanoes that erupt with frozen nitrogen. Even in the outer dark, Triton shows activity, proof that warmth and motion persist where sunlight barely reaches. Its tenuous atmosphere expands and contracts with the seasons, breathing in rhythm with its distant Sunday. Other moons keep their secrets well. Callisto, cratered and quiet, may still hold a buried ocean beneath its ancient shell. Miranda, with cliffs higher than any on Earth, wears scars of catastrophic past upheaval. Io, closest to Jupiter, is the most volcanically active body in the solar system, its surface in constant renewal, reshaped by lava that glows beneath a thin veil of sulfur. Every eruption on Io is a reminder that not all energy comes from light. Some worlds burn from within. These moons show that worlds need not orbit in the warmth of stars to be alive with energy and potential. Tidal forces, radioactive decay, and internal chemistry can sustain heat and motion even in the deepest cold. In the darkness where sunlight fades, gravity becomes a kind of heartbeat, keeping oceans liquid and crusts dynamic. Life, if it exists there, would not depend on the sun, but on the fire within. Exploration has only begun to touch these places. Spacecraft have flown by, photographed surfaces, and tasted the vapor of Enceladus's plumes. They have revealed hints of chemistry that seems achingly familiar: water, carbon compounds, and molecular energy gradients. What they found was not proof, but possibility, and possibility is enough to change how we see existence. Each of these moons reflects a different expression of planetary creativity. Some shimmer with ice, others smoke with sulfur. Some carry dense atmospheres, others breathe vapor into space. They orbit in rhythm with their giants, their tides locked in a gravitational dance billions of years old. Through them, the universe shows that complexity can arise anywhere, that life's stage may not be limited to sunlight and warmth. To stand on one of these moons would be to look up and see not a star, but a planet filling half the sky, glowing, stormy, magnificent. The view would remind that even as a companion, a world can hold its own grandeur. These are not mere satellites, they are storytellers, keepers of ancient secrets written in ice and stone. The moons that whisper secrets teach that life's potential is not confined to familiar boundaries. Even in darkness, motion continues. Even in cold, energy flows. The cosmos does not reserve its wonders for the obvious places. It hides them in the quiet corners, waiting for eyes patient enough to listen. Every ray of starlight is a messenger. It leaves its source carrying the story of that moment, the temperature of a surface, the pulse of a magnetic field, the vibration of atoms within a burning core. It travels through space without rest, crossing the great distances between stars, galaxies, and time itself. Light is tireless. It has no mass, yet it carries energy across the emptiest void. It is the oldest traveler the universe has ever known. The journey begins deep within a star's heart, where atoms collide in relentless fusion. Photons, the smallest packets of light, are born in those reactions, bursting outward. Yet they do not escape quickly. Inside a star, they ricochet through layers of plasma, scattering billions of times over thousands of years before finally reaching open space. When they emerge, they carry the memory of their birthplace, a story encoded in color. Once free, light moves at a constant speed, the ultimate limit in the universe. Nothing outruns it, and nothing can slow it completely. It is both particle and wave, a dual existence that defies ordinary understanding. It behaves as if it knows where it is going, yet it follows no path but the one space-time allows. It curves around stars, bends through gravity, and stretches with the expansion of the cosmos. The universe itself sculpts the path of light, and in return, light reveals the shape of the universe. When we look at the night sky, we are not seeing the present. Every glimmer is an image from the past. The light from the moon takes just over a second to reach Earth. Sunlight, 8 minutes. From the nearest star, 4 years. From the farthest galaxies visible to telescopes, billions of years. The photons that touch our eyes tonight began their journey long before Earth formed, long before life dreamed of seeing them. In that sense, starlight is both vision and memory. Over cosmic distances, light changes. As space expands, it stretches, lengthening its wavelength and shifting its color toward red. This red shift is the signature of time and motion, the imprint of the universe's continual growth. Distant galaxies appear redder, not because they are dimming, but because the fabric of space itself is stretching between us and them. The light remembers that expansion, preserving it as evidence written in its frequency. Some light is caught by gravity and bent into strange shapes. When it passes near massive clusters of galaxies, space-time curves, and light follows those curves like a river winding around invisible mountains. This gravitational lensing magnifies and distorts distant galaxies, allowing us to glimpse objects that would otherwise remain unseen. Light, obedient yet revealing, carries both the story of its source and the fingerprint of everything it encounters along the way. The universe is full of hidden light. Much of it is invisible to human eyes. Radio waves longer than mountains, X-rays shorter than atoms, infrared warmth emitted by dust, ultraviolet rays born in violent stars. All of these are light, differing only in wavelength. The cosmos hums with it, a symphony of electromagnetic frequencies weaving through every corner of space. To study light in all its forms is to read the full language of existence. Some of the oldest light still shining is the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of creation. It has traveled for nearly 14 billion years, stretched and cooled until it whispers rather than shines. Every photon from that epoch carries the memory of the first time light was free to roam. The fact that it still reaches us means that light does not age in the ordinary sense. It simply journeys, forever revealing what was. Light is also the measure of distance and time. Astronomers do not speak in kilometers, but in light years the distance light travels in a year. Each measure is not just length but duration, a bridge between where and when. A galaxy 10 billion light-years away is also 10 billion years old in our eyes. The further we look into space, the deeper we look into the past. Light is the universe's own time machine, carrying with it a record that no other messenger can deliver. It is easy to forget how fragile light can be. A single photon can be absorbed, scattered, or lost in the dust that fills interstellar space. Yet enough of them survive to paint the universe in color and form. They illuminate planets, feed life, and carry energy across unimaginable gulfs. They are the reason anything can be seen at all. Without them, the cosmos would be invisible, not dark, but hidden. There are forms of light humanity has yet to see. Some travel in energies too high or low for instruments to detect. Others may come from realms beyond the known dimensions of space. Light is not confined to what we can perceive. It is as limitless as the universe that creates it. Even now, new technologies reveal wavelengths once unknown, expanding the spectrum of the visible and deepening our understanding of the cosmos. Every beam of light eventually meets an end. It may be absorbed by dust, reflected by a planet, or swallowed by a black hole. Yet, even then, it continues to shape what it touches. Energy transforms, never disappears. In that way, no light truly dies. It becomes part of what it illuminates. To look into a night sky is to witness a conversation billions of years in the making. Every photon that strikes an eye or a lens has traveled unthinkable distances through silence and time to arrive at that instant. It carries a message from a world that may no longer exist, from a star that may have burned out eons ago. Yet the message survives, pure and patient, a thread of continuity woven through the vastness. Light is more than illumination. It is the memory of existence. It travels forever, tracing the shape of time, revealing the form of creation. Through it, the universe sees itself. Through it, we see the universe. The universe, vast and radiant, carries within it the inevitability of change. Every star that burns will one day fade. Every orbit that holds balance will one day drift. The cosmos, for all its majesty, is not immortal. It has a history written in light, and it will have an ending written in silence. Yet even that ending may not be simple, for the universe offers many possible destinies, each as profound and mysterious as its beginning. The most familiar vision of the end is the slow fading known as heat death. In this scenario, expansion continues forever, stretching space wider and colder with every passing epoch. Stars exhaust their fuel, one by one, until galaxies dim and vanish beyond sight. The last embers of light fade into infrared whispers. Black holes remain for a time, swallowing what little energy still moves, until even they evaporate through faint radiation. In the final silence, the universe becomes a sea of darkness near absolute zero, where matter is thin and time itself stretches towards stillness. It is not a fiery end, but a slow unwinding, the ultimate equilibrium, where nothing more can happen. Another possibility is far more violent: the Big Rip. If dark energy, the force driving cosmic expansion, grows stronger with time, it could one day tear the universe apart. Galaxies would separate, stars would drift away from their clusters, planets would escape their suns. Then, as expansion accelerates further, atoms themselves would be pulled apart, space stretched until even the smallest particles lose cohesion. Reality would unravel not in flame but in endless acceleration, the fabric of space-time itself torn to shreds. There are gentler visions too, born of cycles rather than conclusions. In the theory of the Big Crunch, gravity may one day overcome expansion, pulling everything back together. The galaxies would reverse their flight, the stars would collide, and the universe would collapse inward. Space would heat again, dense and brilliant, until all matter and energy merge into one incandescent unity. From that compression could come another birth, a new explosion, a new universe expanding from the ashes of the old. Existence might not end at all, but breathe in and out across eternity. Some versions of this cyclical universe are even more intricate. Each cosmic rebound may alter the laws of physics slightly, changing the constants that govern light and matter. Every new universe could be an experiment, its conditions tweaked by the previous one, evolving toward greater complexity. In such a vision, death is not destruction but transformation, a perpetual renewal written into the structure of reality. There are other endings that exist only in theory, yet capture the imagination. One envisions the universe as a simulation or a projection from deeper dimensions. Its end, then, might come not from entropy or expansion, but from cessation, the turning off of the mechanism that sustains it. In that quiet instant, everything would vanish at once, not into chaos, but into absence, leaving behind neither ashes nor echoes. Another possibility lies in quantum uncertainty. On the smallest scales, even the vacuum is unstable. It may someday undergo a sudden phase transition, a shift into a new state of energy. Such an event, called vacuum decay, would spread outward at the speed of light, rewriting the laws of physics as it goes. Everything matter, energy, even space would dissolve into a more stable configuration. There would be no warning, no sensation, only transformation. To the universe, it would be the blink of an eye. But perhaps the most haunting possibility is that there may be no ending at all, at least not in the sense we understand. If time itself is infinite, the universe may never cease, only change its form endlessly. Galaxies may fade, but quantum fluctuations could one day spark new ones. Particles may vanish, but new combinations might emerge spontaneously. Even in the darkest epoch, randomness could give birth to fleeting islands of light. The universe would not die. It would dream endlessly, each dream another variation of existence. The story of endings is, in truth, a story about time. We see time as a flow from past to future, but the universe may see it differently. To the cosmos, all moments might coexist, every birth and every end frozen together in spacetime's vast geometry. The end, then, is not a destination but a perspective, the far horizon of an ever-continuing whole. For now, the universe is still young, stars are still forming, galaxies still spinning, light still crossing the dark. The balance between creation and decay continues, as it has for billions of years. And though all things move toward entropy, new order keeps arising, stars reborn from the remnants of old, planets forming from dust, life emerging from chaos. The end is woven into the pattern, but so is renewal. If the cosmos does someday fall silent, that silence will be earned the final chord of an infinite symphony. It will not be tragedy, but fulfillment. For in its long unfolding, the universe will have known every form of beauty possible: light and shadow, creation and collapse, warmth and cold, thought and dream. The ending of everything, when it comes, will be the closing breath of eternity, calm, complete, and filled with memory. The night sky gives the illusion of completeness. It feels as if everything that exists lies within that ocean of stars, one universe, vast and solitary, containing all space, all matter, all time. Yet, some of the boldest ideas in science whisper that what we see may be only a single wave on an infinite sea. Beyond the visible horizon, beyond even the limits of imagination, there may exist countless other universes, each with its own laws, histories, and forms of life. This is the dream of the multiverse. The idea begins with inflation, the rapid expansion that followed the universe's birth. In the earliest fraction of a second, space grew faster than light, smoothing out irregularities and scattering galaxies to be across unimaginable distances. Some theories suggest that this expansion never ended entirely. Instead, it continues in distant regions, spawning new universes the way bubbles form and separate in a rising tide. Each bubble carries its own version of reality, sealed off from the rest by vast, inflating space. Within these bubbles, the laws of physics might differ. Some could have more dimensions, or weaker gravity, or entirely different particles of matter. In one, stars might burn blue and short-lived. In another, no light might ever form at all. Ours could simply be the version whose conditions happen to allow stability, a universe fine-tuned for galaxies, chemistry, and consciousness. The others remain unseen, drifting in cosmic isolation, their lights unreachable even in eternity. The notion of infinite universes challenges the meaning of possibility itself. If the cosmos is truly boundless and diverse, then every configuration of matter might exist somewhere. There could be another version of our own world, where the laws of chance took slightly different turns, a planet where the continents are rearranged, where life followed another path, where history wrote a different story. Infinity allows not just repetition, but variation without end. Quantum physics deepens the mystery. In the microscopic realm, particles behave as if they explore all possible outcomes at once, only settling into a definite state when observed. One interpretation suggests that each potential outcome actually happens, but in a separate, branching universe. When a choice is made, when a photon passes through one slit and not another, reality divides. Every possibility continues, each in its own world. The multiverse, then, would not just be a cosmic landscape, but a living tree of infinite branches, growing with every moment. In this vision, reality is not singular, but layered. The universe we know could be one thin sheet in an endless stack of dimensions, each vibrating in its own rhythm. Sometimes, these layers might brush against each other, leaving subtle imprints, patterns in radiation, tiny deviations in gravity, echoes that suggest unseen neighbors. Though no evidence yet confirms such contact, the mathematics that describe it remain hauntingly consistent. The concept of multiple universes also invites reflection on meaning. If infinite versions of ourselves exist elsewhere, what makes this one significant? Perhaps significance lies not in uniqueness, but in experience, in the awareness of this specific path, this particular flow of time. Each consciousness may be a thread in a vast tapestry, distinct yet woven from the same fabric. Infinity does not diminish meaning, it multiplies it. The dream of multiverses also changes how we view beginnings. If universes can emerge endlessly from inflation or quantum fluctuation, then creation itself may be eternal. There was no single moment of birth, no first spark, only an infinite chain of expansion and renewal. Each universe becomes both child and parent, part of a lineage with no origin and no end. And perhaps the universes are not entirely separate. Some theories propose that black holes might act as gateways, compressing matter in one universe and releasing it as a new explosion in another. In this way, every collapse could seed new creation. The death of a star, the folding of space, might be the birth cry of another cosmos, an endless cycle of emergence and transformation. If the multiverse exists, it raises a profound question. What is beyond even that? If every possible universe can exist, what contains them? The idea stretches reason until it breaks, hinting that perhaps there is no outside at all, only an infinite totality, self-contained and self-creating, where existence simply is. The multiverse might be less a collection of worlds and more an eternal process, the universe dreaming of itself in infinite forms. Whether the multiverse is physical or philosophical, it captures a deep intuition that reality is larger than perception. The known cosmos, with its galaxies and stars, may be just one verse in a boundless song. Each universe would be a note, distinct yet resonant with the same underlying harmony. To imagine this is to glimpse how creation might never cease, how even endings are beginnings repeated endlessly across the vastness. And so, the night sky becomes not the limit of sight, but the threshold of possibility. Each point of light could be one of infinite sparks, flickering across infinite worlds. The dream of multiverses reminds that existence itself may be infinite in creativity. that no boundary can contain what the universe is capable of imagining. The cosmos stretches into distances so great they dissolve comprehension. Stars burn and die, galaxies spin through darkness, and time flows onward with no destination. Yet amid this immensity, a strange phenomenon has arisen. The universe has produced something that can notice itself. Consciousness, delicate and self-aware, is the cosmos turned inward, looking back upon its own creation. Every thought that arises in a human mind is built from the same matter that once blazed inside stars. The iron in the blood, the calcium in the bones, the carbon in every living cell, all were born in stellar furnaces billions of years ago. Through the long evolution of matter into life, and life into awareness, the universe has given a small portion of itself the ability to reflect. The stars created the eyes that now watch them. The emergence of consciousness is one of the most extraordinary transformations in existence. From the simple vibrations of energy came atoms. From atoms came chemistry. From chemistry came biology. And from biology came the mind, a phenomenon that can ask questions the universe has never been asked before. Awareness is not separate from nature. It is nature become curious. This realization dissolves the distance between observer and observed. The universe is not something out there. It is something that includes the observer within it. When a person studies the night sky, they are not merely looking at an external reality. They are participating in a dialogue between matter and awareness. The gaze of consciousness completes the act of creation by perceiving it. The light from ancient stars meets the retina, triggers neural patterns, and becomes understanding. In that instant, the cosmos knows itself again. Every act of observation is also an act of transformation. To perceive is to organize, to connect, to give form to chaos. The human mind does not merely record, it interprets. Through perception, the scattered data of existence becomes meaning. Mathematics, language, and art are extensions of this impulse ways for consciousness to model the infinite complexity it senses around it. In this sense, the universe evolves not only through physical change but through awareness that gives it significance. The brain, a structure of mere kilograms, contains galaxies of neurons. Within it, electric signals echo like tiny storms of lightning. Each thought is a pulse of energy, lasting fractions of a second, yet capable of holding entire worlds of memory and imagination. Consciousness weaves time differently, compressing lifetimes into recollection and projecting futures that have not yet occurred. It bends inner space as gravity bends outer space, folding experience into patterns that create identity. Across countless worlds, perhaps consciousness is not unique. The same laws that gave rise to life here may have repeated elsewhere, in forms we cannot yet imagine. Minds built of different chemistry may look out at different skies, wondering the same things. Who are we? What is this? Why does anything exist at all? Each awareness, no matter how alien, would share that same essential act, the universe noticing itself. Even if humanity were alone, consciousness would still connect everything it perceives. Awareness is not bound to one being or one planet. It is a property of organization, a spark that ignites wherever complexity reaches a certain threshold. In every sentient mind, the cosmos finds another mirror. The universe multiplies its own reflection through every eye that opens, every thought that forms, every dream that unfolds. There is something sacred in that symmetry. The same laws that shape galaxies also shape emotions and memory. The patterns that govern orbits and tides also govern thought and rhythm. The harmony between microcosm and macrocosm suggests that consciousness may not be an accident, but a continuation of cosmic order. The mind as an extension of the same intelligence that built the stars. Philosophers and scientists alike have wondered whether consciousness is fundamental, not a byproduct of matter, but a feature of existence itself. Perhaps awareness permeates the universe like gravity or light, manifesting most clearly where complexity allows. If so, the cosmos is not merely a stage for thought, but a living field of perception, aware through countless forms. Each mind, then, would be a temporary expression of a deeper consciousness, the universe experiencing itself from within. To gaze at the sky and feel awe is to sense this connection. That feeling, wordless, vast, humbling, is recognition. It is the moment when the boundary between self and cosmos dissolves, when the observer realizes they are part of the very mystery they observe. Awe is not just emotion, it is alignment, the resonance of a mind with the structure of existence. The mind that gazes back is fragile, yet through it, the universe becomes aware of beauty, mortality, and meaning. Stars may last for billions of years, but they do not know they shine. Galaxies may span light years, but they do not know they spin. Only through consciousness does the universe gain the capacity for wonder. Awareness gives the cosmos a voice. In the end, the story of existence is not only about matter and motion, but about perception and thought. The universe's greatest creation may not be galaxies or gravity, but the brief flicker of understanding that arises within them. The mind that gazes back is the cosmos dreaming of itself fragile, luminous, and infinite in possibility. There is a moment, just before sleep, when the mind loosens its grip on the world. The boundaries between thought and reality dissolve, and awareness drifts into the vastness within. In that transition, the human spirit mirrors the cosmos, suspended between waking and dreaming, between the known and the infinite. It is a private reflection of the universe's own balance, where silence and motion, light and darkness, exist together without conflict. In sleep, consciousness folds inward, the senses withdraw, time softens, and space becomes fluid. Dreams rise like nebulae in the mind, forming landscapes that obey no laws of gravity or distance. In them, imagination expands freely, like galaxies forming from unseen energy. The dream state is the mind's way of touching infinity without leaving the body a nightly echo of the universe's restless creation. When one drifts into this realm, thought loses language. The mind begins to float, carried by images and sensations that feel both ancient and new. In those quiet moments, imagination becomes a cosmos of its own. It builds suns from memory, planets from emotion, constellations from fleeting images. Just as stars coalesce from dust, dreams take shape from the scattered fragments of waking life. Scientists once believed dreams were random, the byproduct of neural static. Yet deeper study revealed their purpose, a form of restoration, a recalibration of memory and meaning. The sleeping mind processes experience, dissolves pain, and reorganizes knowledge. In its cycles, chaos becomes order again, much like the universe reorganizing itself after every explosion, every collapse. Sleep is not escape, it is renewal, a nightly rebirth that allows life to continue. The thin line between waking and dreaming is also a line between control and surrender. In waking life, consciousness seeks order, strives for understanding, measures and defines. In dreams, that structure softens, allowing symbols and emotions to flow freely. The mind's grip relaxes, and from that freedom comes a different kind of truth, one felt rather than reasoned, one that reflects the universe's own fluidity. Reality itself may not be as fixed as waking perception insists. There are cultures that once believed dreams were messages from the cosmos, carried by the stars themselves. Sleep was a sacred journey, a way to commune with the unseen order behind creation. In such views, the dream world was not a fabrication but another realm of reality, overlapping the physical, woven into the same fabric as light and gravity. Even in modern times, the intuition persists. Dreams feel meaningful not because they are illusions, but because they remind us that perception is not limited to daylight. The experience of dreaming reveals something profound about consciousness. When awareness detaches from the external world, it does not vanish. It continues inward, creating its own space and time. This suggests that the mind itself contains a universe, one that expands each night into a private infinity. Within those inner stars and skies, memory, desire, and imagination shape realities that exist only while the dreamer sleeps, yet are no less vast than the world outside. Between sleep and wakefulness lies a fragile balance, a place where inspiration often blooms. Many discoveries, poems, and insights have emerged from that liminal state, the moment when the mind, still half dreaming, translates its visions into thought. In that brief bridge between worlds, logic and wonder intertwine. The universe itself may exist in a similar state, poised between possibility and form, always creating, never fixed. Time behaves differently here. In a single dream, one may live a lifetime or traverse endless landscapes in moments. The boundaries that define waking life, gravity, distance, sequence, dissolve. This bending of inner time reflects the deeper truth that time itself, even in the outer cosmos, is not absolute. The dream state becomes a small echo of relativity, an internal counterpart to the curvature of space-time. In both dreams and the cosmos, darkness is not emptiness. It is the canvas upon which light or thought takes shape. The quiet of sleep is not absence but potential. It is a pause in which the mind gathers energy, the same way the void gathers matter before birthing stars. Both are processes of creation through stillness. As sleep deepens, the mind releases its last hold on identity. The self dissolves into something larger, into sensation, memory, or light. It is a rehearsal for the great silence the universe will one day return to, yet it is also a reminder that in every ending lies transformation. Each night, the consciousness that fades also returns, renewed and luminous, like a star reborn from dust. When morning comes and awareness rises again, the world seems more vivid. The sky feels wider, sound sharper, thought clearer. The rhythm of sleep and waking mirrors the universe's own breathing contraction and expansion, silence and motion. To rest is to participate in that cosmic rhythm, to trust that even in stillness, life continues. The thin line between sleep and infinity is where the inner and outer cosmos meet. It is the space where the mind learns what stars already know, that light and darkness are not enemies, but partners in creation. To drift into sleep is to surrender to the vastness that birthed all things, to dissolve into the same mystery that shapes galaxies. And in the gentle return to waking, one carries with them a trace of that vastness, the quiet knowledge that the infinite was never outside at all, but within. Every living being carries the trace of the cosmos in its form. The atoms that make up blood, bone, and breath were born in the hearts of stars, scattered through explosions, and gathered again into new shapes. The universe is not something distant and external. It is what the body is made of, what the mind arises from, what the heart echoes with each beat. To look outward at the night sky is to see one's own origin reflected in light. Inside every person, galaxies of neurons fire in electric storms. Their flashes mirror constellations, pulsing in patterns that hold thoughts, dreams, and memory. The same forces that shaped stars now shape emotion and perception. Each moment of awareness is an act of cosmic resonance, a continuation of that first burst of energy that began everything. Consciousness is not separate from the universe. It is the universe learning to understand itself. Within the smallest cell, complexity thrives beyond comprehension. Molecules interact in rhythms that sustain life, as though each were part of a grand, silent orchestra. DNA coils like a spiral galaxy, carrying instructions that stretch back through billions of years. Every breath, every blink, every heartbeat is part of a cycle that began long before humanity existed and will continue long after. The universe does not merely surround life, it flows through it. Even emotion, that most intimate of experiences, is a reflection of cosmic balance. Joy is expansion, sorrow is contraction, curiosity is gravity drawing awareness toward mystery. The same dynamics that shape stars also shape the inner world: attraction, tension, release. The soul, if such a word may be used, is an expression of the same law that governs the motion of galaxies. Science reveals the external pattern. Introspection reveals its mirror. When the mind grows still, when thoughts fade and only awareness remains, something timeless opens within. That silence is not empty. It is vast, radiant, and alive, an inner cosmos that feels infinite despite being contained within the boundaries of thought. Mystics once spoke of it as oneness. Scientists describe it as consciousness, but both are pointing toward the same realization. The universe exists both outside and inside, woven into a single field of being. The human heart beats to the rhythm of expansion and contraction, just as the universe does. Each breath draws in and releases, echoing the cosmic pulse of creation and dissolution. In the patterns of the body, the laws of the cosmos repeat themselves on a smaller scale. The body becomes a living reflection of universal geometry, the same mathematics expressed through stars, seas, and cells. When one stands beneath the sky and feels awe, that feeling is not just admiration for what is seen, it is recognition. The awe arises because something within responds to something without, and they are not truly different. The universe gazes at itself through human eyes. The wonder felt in that gaze is the meeting point between matter and meaning, between physics and spirit. Awareness gives the universe purpose. Without consciousness, galaxies would spin in silence, stars would burn unseen, and time would pass without witness. Through perception, existence becomes experience. Through reflection, the cosmos becomes self-aware. Each thought, each act of kindness, each curiosity adds to that awareness, shaping reality from within. The human mind is not an accident in the universe. It is an essential continuation of its unfolding story. Within the mind's quiet depths, one can sense the same mystery that surrounds the stars, the question of why there is something rather than nothing, of how order arises from chaos, of what it means to exist. These questions are not intrusions into the universe's plan, they are the universe's own questions, expressed through the beings it has created. In wondering, humanity participates in creation itself. Every moment of connection to another person, to nature, to the silent beauty of the night, is a return to unity. Separation is a matter of perception. Beneath it lies continuity. The atoms of the air once belonged to ancient stars. The water that flows through veins once circled in clouds before the earth was formed. Even thought, fleeting and immaterial, is energy drawn from sunlight stored in food and transformed into awareness. Everything is intertwined, every life a strand in the same luminous web. The universe within is not smaller than the one outside. It holds infinite landscapes of imagination and insight. It can dream of what does not yet exist and remember what no longer does. In the quiet of contemplation, when boundaries dissolve, the inner and outer become one. The same silence that fills interstellar space fills the space between thoughts. The same light that travels from distant stars glows in the awareness that perceives it. When the mind grows still enough, when thought ceases and only presence remains, a simple truth becomes clear: there has never been a separation between the observer and the observed. The stars are not merely distant objects, but reflections of the same essence that animates life. To exist is to belong wholly to the universe, to be its expression in form and feeling. In this understanding, the cosmos is no longer cold or indifferent. It is intimate, participatory, alive. Every motion, every whisper of wind, every heartbeat is part of its ongoing story. The universe breathes through all that exists, and through each consciousness that awakens within it, it continues to dream. The universe within is not found by reaching outward, but by turning inward into stillness, where thought falls away and only being remains. In that stillness, infinity reveals itself not as distance, but as depth. The stars shine both in the sky and behind the eyes that behold them. The cosmos is not something to be discovered, it is something to be remembered. End of documentary. The most mysterious facts about space. Dreamy science to fall asleep to.